Chotuu education is a foundation, provide free education for school dropouts, especially for the children who are begging in the streets and doing labor activities. When a child goes for labor activities, we need to stop them from going there and we want them to come to the school. We try to bargain with the family and we said that, okay, we'll give you 1,000 rupees for groceries. As a return, you give your child to our learning center. So I think there's a Madhavan movie where this kind of a bargain system happens. So the only way that how we take all these challenges is see it as a challenge, not like a problem. If you see it as a challenge, it will give you the curiosity to figure out what can be the best answer for resolving the challenge.
What if your first words each morning were please for coins instead of good morning teacher? For thousands of street children, that's life. Waking before dawn, clutching metal bowls, threading through traffic for spare change, where classrooms stay locked and lessons feel impossible. Welcome to Stories Within. I'm your host Hasti, and today we are joined by Yuva, co-founder of Chotuu Education. She refused to let begging define these kids' future and turned sidewalks into actual schools. Armed with donated notebooks and handful of committed college student volunteers, Yuva's team set up open-air classrooms in bustling market lanes. The toughest battle wasn't rain or traffic. It was convincing parents that trading a few coins for few hours of study could change everything. They invited parents to sit on trial lessons, showed how even 30 minutes of reading aloud builds confidence, and adjusted class times around children's earning schedules so families never lost income. Through neighborhood meetings, door-to-door outreach and sharing early success stories, Yuva scaled from one small session to hundreds of enrolled learners, kids who now write their names and their own destiny. In this episode, Yuva will reveal the moment she realized charity needed a classroom, how she won over skeptical parents to let their children learn, the fundraising and volunteer recruitment hacks that kept the program running. Hit subscribe because Chotuu Education proves that with strategy, persistence and a community willing to rethink charity, even the roughest pavement can become a place of possibility. Let's dive in.
You have definitely embarked on a journey that's bold and a very unconventional journey, if I may say. So you must have seen a lot of obstacles and challenges, right? And I was thinking the same. The biggest challenge that you must have faced is convincing the parents more than the kid, because you're asking them to let go of the income that the kid is going to bring, but then invest in their future that can eventually give them money, but not right now. How is the model, and how did you convince the parents who were like very stubborn, like I don't want to let go of the money? What did you do?
So we have different categories of students to be bucketed under based on the exact question that you asked. So there are a certain set of students where they have the interest and the parents also have the interest, but financial constraints because of which they have been asked to go for work. In those scenarios, it seems to be a very genuine case. So there we try to step in and we try to provide some financial support in terms of giving the groceries. And there are certain places where it is a force where the students have been asked to go for work, not just because of the finance, but there is a force that's coming from the family itself. In those cases, we don't see the necessity to have this bargain system. So then we decide to get the support of local police. We try to talk to them, we try to tell this kind of a program that we are running, and they coming forward and showing their support for our program indirectly gives a kind of a fear factor for the parents, saying that okay, they are not supposed to send the kids to work and they are supposed to send them to school. So that's that kind of a, I don't say trick, but that's one option that we explore, and we have made it happen for that particular category. And there are certain categories where there is a requirement for the student to still go for work in despite of us providing the groceries. So in those cases, we try to manage it in such a way that okay, they come to the program minimum 3-4 hours, and then they go for the work as well, and again they come to the program. So something like that we are doing it. And there are certain cases where if there is a possibility, we try to even provide some job opportunities even for the parents, so that if they get a better job, then probably the burden on the kids could be reduced. So that is the other thing that we try. And in certain scenarios, so the parents have a dual occupation. So they have an occupation here in this city for a certain period of time. And then during the harvesting season, they have to go back to the native from where they came. because there could be some additional work during the agricultural activities. So then they get some extra money. So that dual occupation is there. So when they travel from here to there, they take the kids also. That again becomes a gap in our program. So because they do have the interest, but they don't have any other place to make the kids stay, and they cannot go and come back, right? So in those cases, we didn't had any answers back then. But over the period of time now, what has happened is our teachers have created a very good bond with the parents. So because of which now the parents themselves have come forward and said that, okay, they will travel and go to the theater and they will keep the kids here in the neighbor's home who is not traveling. So the neighbor is actually taking care of the kid in that 1-2 months. And the parents go there, finish the agriculture and come back. So that's actually a biggest success, I would say, because we never asked for it. They themselves came up and they have said this. So this indirectly means that the kind of trust that we have developed, which is something that is the first thing that we always try to ensure that it keeps happening on a longer period. And that has really turned out very beautifully, where now the parents are coming up forward and they're taking up responsibilities, and they themselves are saying that, okay, we will keep the kids here and we will go and come back. So that's something that is a very nice factor to experience it.
So it's actually very wonderful, right? Like they're trusting their kids with you, right? Even if they're not there. So it's not easy for a parent to do it. And the fact that they're doing it shows how important your work is, or how much trust that they have in this program. So you mentioned that you take helps of local authorities to, how many kids have been benefited by your program so far, and how many are currently enrolled in your program? So
currently we have 4 learning centers, and in every learning center we have minimum 20 to 25 students. And overall in the program from 2016 till date, approximately 196 students have been benefited, or they are still having the process, or they are still in the process of getting the benefits from us. So it's close to 200 is what I would say. Of course, number doesn't matter. So it's not about as the year progresses, the NGO should have more number of students, the target should increase, the beneficiaries should increase. So that has never been the objective. The only 2 points that we always focus is whoever is there in this program should get the maximum benefit out of education, and that too it has to be provided for free. And wherever dropouts are there, we should be able to reach out to them and bring them under this program to get more benefit. So these 2 has been the only objectives, and we are trying to see how the maximum benefit we can still give with the limited resources that we have. Yeah.
All of us know how educating 1 or 2 children can be a challenge, but 196 kids, it's no joke. That's truly remarkable. Kudos to you and your entire team. That's very impressive. I'm sure all your efforts must have brought some transformative changes in the lives of these children and their entire family, right? So have you witnessed firsthand the impact of your efforts on the kids and their families, or even the communities? So what kind of transformations have you seen?
First point is that the kids are still in a very early stage in order to, let's say, get a job and then see a good benefit in the financial perspective to improve the family as a whole. So the kids are still in the early phase. So there are a couple of students right now who are currently in the college level. They are doing the degree. So I'm still looking forward to see how they can again go to the next level and then get a job and create a connection with improving the finance aspects of the family. But the other transformations that we have noticed over the period of time in this program is how the women in the community have stepped up forward to come and support us in various aspects as possible. For example, earlier we used to arrange lunch, and we used to gather some additional funds in order to cook the lunch and give it to the children in the school, because the parents will go early in the morning for some random work and they come back very late, and the kids don't have the possibility to have or arrange a lunch on their own. So we used to do all these things, and consistently seeing the education that we are providing for their students, now it has come to a level where they have stepped up and they are arranging the lunch and giving the lunch box to the children, and then they go for the work. So this is something that it has happened on its own. So we really wanted to appreciate the efforts that the team and the teachers have done in order to bring this to the next level. So the mindset is something that we really wanted to work upon and see how we can change. That being said, it's not a very easy task for a person like us to change our mindset. It's never going to happen. Then how would a person who is even 20 or 30 years elder to us going to change everything overnight? It's not going to happen. But it's all about the process towards it and trying to see if there is a possibility to think in a different angle. That is all it is. And through this program, we could able to see that there is a transformation happening towards that perspective. So now the parents are coming forward and asking why my student is getting very low marks. Earlier, they never even used to send them to the school. They started seeing the marks that they are getting and they started to come and question is why are they getting low marks? And if they don't get anything from the school, which we usually give as a part of appreciation when they have 100% attendance or things like that, they come and question us why my child did not get any gift. So those kinds of things really makes us to think that, okay, so one way they were never even bothering about the program, but now they started to come and ask, they're doing some comparison and they're asking, okay, that student is getting, why not my child? So then we try to fit it into the system and try to tell them that what could be the reason, and we try to make them more connected with the program and ensure that next season or maybe the next session, their child also get this kind of recognition. So those kinds of things we could able to visually see, which is really helping us out. And we also started to have some interesting programs in this model. For example, this is the second year we did an annual day for all the students, combining all the 4 learning centers. We arranged some kind of a vehicle and we fixed a common venue, brought all the students at a single place, and we brought all the family members also. So these kinds of experiences obviously makes the parents to see that, okay, this kind of activity is not happening only in one locality where they live. It's also happening in 3 other different places. And there are other families who are getting benefited, or there are other families where the kids are getting benefited in this education. So when they see these things in reality, face to face, interact with them, that is also indirectly helping us to run this program even with more confidence and even with the more deeper vision and intentions as well. So these are the kinds of transformations that we are seeing. It may be very small, but on a longer term, we see that this is going to create a bigger impact.
It's definitely not small. I think these are the transformations that we want, right? But I think the mindset of parents should change and they should put education in the forefront. They should understand that education is the most important thing that you can provide for a kid. So that's the exact kind of transformations that I think you would want to see, because convincing a child is pretty easy. But as you rightly mentioned, convincing someone who's 20, 30 years older to you and that they've seen good share of life, and convincing them and making their entire mindset change, right? So I think that's the most important transformation that you have brought. So that's definitely not a small thing. I know it's not easy for what you've achieved. And this annual day thing, I think it's very nice, right? You're bringing everybody together. And then do you also have like a traditional school annual day where you have some, say, some dance, music and things like that, so that the parents can actually see what their child can do apart from education? Do you also do that kind of family building or community building activities during your annual day?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to explain more about this annual day. So the whole objective is to give a platform for the students to showcase their talents to the parents. That is what the entire objective is. So let's say 1 month before the annual day, we try to roll out some kind of activities in terms of academics, where let's say, for example, essay writing competition, and even we do some indoor games also, like chess or carom, or even some outdoor sports. So these kinds of activities happen 1 month in advance at all learning centers, and we finalize who's the best performer, and we have the first prize and second prize students list. And then on the particular D-Day, we provide the stage for the students to showcase dance, singing, maybe skit or some kind of a mime, or maybe say some kind of poems or stories or whatever it is. So we just have this kind of set of activities where every branch, the best student, already scrutinized or already shortlisted, they come forward to the stage and they get a exposure to mention about one of their skills. And the pre-events that we have done earlier, so those students also get an opportunity to come to the stage and get a certificate or medal. So either we ensure that the parents themselves come to the stage and give it to the students, or maybe we invite some donors and sponsors who can come and give it to them, so that also will give an add-on fee for the students as well as for the parents as well. And this year, even last year, I remember we also did something differently where we wanted to pick the best parent from every learning center who is really providing us good amount of support. So we wanted to invite them also to the stage, and we just give them some kind of an appreciation. So that's the other thing that we are doing here. So the entire objective behind all this is, again, how best we can keep doing the things so that we all walk towards the path of slowly changing our mindset or slowly adapting to the possibility of understanding the importance of education. So that's about it.
That's actually nice that you're bringing parents also in and supporting them. Maybe that will encourage them more, right? Like, I need to be more supportive, or it can serve as a visual treat for them to see their kids performing. It's actually nice what you're doing. I think it's very important because I remember even on our school annual days, we will be very proud to showcase what we have done, what we have practiced for, like, say, a month or so with the parents. I'm sure the kids must be, they'll be thrilled, right, to show whatever they have done so far. It's a good way to bring the community together.
Yeah, we also wanted to go to the next level where we were thinking that, okay, right now we are bringing all the learning center students and we are doing this. And now we should go to the next phase where, let's say, we also invite the government school students and have some kind of a healthy competition between CKE students and the government school students, and see what is the next level that we can go. So that's something that we are thinking about. We need to see how we can make it happen in reality, because in the past, before we could do this annual day program, we have been engaging ourselves with government schools which are nearby to our learning centers, and we have been doing, if you remember, in Bhumi we were doing this nakshatra, isn't it? So something like that, we were trying to reciprocate it in the government school. Just take one single government school and give them the platform to express their talents and have a healthy competition between them. So that is something that we started, and then from one government school we also continue to do it in two government schools. And during the COVID we have to give it a pause and we were not able to pick it up. And then we started this annual day program for CKE students, and we were trying to reciprocate the same thing. Now we wanted to merge both and try to see how we can bring maximum possible opportunity for many students in a single place. That's something that we are thinking. So we need to see how things turn out in reality. Yeah.
Put your vision together, and then you have a lot of these kids coming to a place, and then they can all showcase their talents. And yeah, that'll be a nice one. It's really heartwarming to see your efforts. And what I really like, right, it's not just helping the kids, it's helping the entire family, right? Like parents, as you rightly mentioned, the perspective of parents have changed, so they want to know the progress of their kids and all that. It's actually nice to see that. So that I'm just curious, can you talk more about the education model that you have in place in CKE? Because my understanding is that there might be kids who must have had a long break in their education, right? Or they might be starting school for the very first time. So how do you bridge that gap and bring them up to speed so that they don't feel left out or have imposter syndrome when you put them in a traditional school setting, say a government school? Like how are you managing that?
I would again take the example of Bhumi, because I remember that when we first start the science project for the students, we do something called as a baseline assessment test. And then we do a ENTR assessment test to see that from where they have reached. So that was one of the triggering points here as well. So we decided to do something called some initial preliminary test for any identified student in order to understand where do they stand. So what is their level of learning capacity as well, and how much they already know. So that is something that we try to evaluate as a first step. So for this, what kind of questionnaire that we can prepare and how we can do it. A couple of volunteers who have been engaged in Bhumi, they were also helping me for this. And there were also some Gandhi fellows who were helping me for this kind of aspect. And Teach for India also, there were a couple of my friends who were working as a fellows. So I used to interact with them and I used to brainstorm with them and mention about these kinds of things. And they came up with some multiple ideas. So based on all of their thought process, we tried to come up with some kind of a questionnaire, which we consider to be as a baseline assessment for the school dropouts. So then we first give that and we understand where do they stand. And as for their age, what is that they should ideally know. So that is something that we should be aware of. So then we will know what is the gap and how much is the gap. Then we try to bridge this gap for the next 1 year. That's how we do it. And once we finish it, earlier the CKE model was in such a way that once we complete the bridging course, if we are really eligible to go back to the school, we try to reach out to the nearby government school principal and mention about our program, and we tell them to evaluate our students and again put them in the age appropriate class, because they could have been dropped out when they were second standard or third standard. Now as per the age, they should ideally be in seventh standard. So we don't want them to again go back to fourth standard and continue. So that's not going to happen. In reality, they will again drop out if they see different age students in their same classroom. So that's where we try to explain our model to the principal and try to tell them the lack of documents also, which is going to be this real case scenario. And we try to tell them that whatever is possible to be considered as a certificate, we will try to give it from our side. And if you can just evaluate them and put in the age appropriate class, it would be a best approach. So certain principals are open and they are accepting this kind of a request. And certain places we face resistance. Resistance is basically because lack of documents. And if you're not able to fulfill that, then it's going to be a challenge for them also to enroll them. So then it becomes a concern. So that's how we then join them in the school. But again, because of various other reasons, they again drop out from the mainstream school and they again come back. So we have to again see what is the best that we can again do. What could be the reason for them to again drop out from the mainstream and coming back to CKE. So then we try to fine tune the model. So right now, how the model works is we first put this baseline examination, understand what is their gap, and try to fill the gap. Once we fill this gap, we start with the age-appropriate Telangana State Board textbooks. We start the classes directly with that. And until they reach their age of 16, we try to provide education under CKE only. And then we enroll them in an open university and make them complete the Open 10 standard. This is something that we are doing so that they will directly get a certificate once they finish it. And then if they want to enroll themselves in a regular intermediate college, I mean in Chennai we say 11th standard and 12th standard, so here they say as inter. So if they want to enroll themselves directly in the inter, the certificate will still be valid. Or if they wanted to enroll themselves in an open inter, then Saturday and Sunday they go for the classes, and then weekdays they are still available either to go for a job or either to do something else as well. So this kind of a model we have fine-tuned. So people from different other educational NGOs are currently and in the past supporting me in order to see how we can improvise the early phase in terms of the bridging the education. What is the best kind of approach that we can give and how it can be taught? All those things we are still coming up with new aspects. It's not like a fixed model that we have. It keeps improvising, and people are there in the back end who are supporting us for that.
I understand, because without documentation, enrolling them to a normal traditional school would be a challenge. And glad to see that you have bypassed that and then opted for an open university.
Today's artist spotlight is Veda Srinivas. She began drawing at the age of 4 and channels her sensitive, analytical spirit into nature-inspired art. She has found true freedom of expression through art, creating works that captures her deep inner reflections and unique perspective on the world. A talented musician on piano, flute, and cello, who also enjoys swimming and fencing, she blends introspection and imagination in her artwork. Her imaginative piece, blending a swirling Van Gogh-like sky with a vivid, thoughtful eye, captures her belief in seeing and feeling the world with both the heart and the mind. Rooted in family and fueled by empathy, Veda dreams of becoming a child psychiatrist so she can help others understand their minds, just as her art helps her see the world with both heart and thought. It's our honor to feature Veda Srinivas in this episode of Stories Within.